Group. Sorry, guys. We're playing around with technology this morning. Okay, now we've hit live on all of our platforms. Welcome, welcome. We are Bonnie and Thomas Leota, creating champions for life. And we were having a conversation the other day because I was talking to a lady who owns a law firm and she's got a couple kids and nothing really crazy going on. Just had heard about creating champions for life and wanted to know what we do and how we're different than other parenting. And so I was on my morning walk and I was thinking, I don't know, every parenting ad that you see on social media will say, come take our course and I'll show you how to have cooperative kids in 30 minutes or less or whatever. And we've gone to a lot of these webinars, Tom and I, and these classes and read these books. And every time we do, honestly, from the inside out, we're hoping that these parenting experts have got their heads wrapped around actually guiding child behavior. They use the word guide, they use, cooperation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're speaking the same language, but we're doing two completely different things. They're doing authoritative parenting, which is control based parenting. They're getting all of the power struggles, the mental health issues with their kids. And so, what is it that we actually do here? Well, we create champions for life. We're creating champions for life. So, if your ultimate goal is to have compliant kids who sit in a corner and don't have any thoughts of their own and never push boundaries and never take a step outside of the box, then this isn't the program or the group or the Q&A for you. But if inside of your soul, you're like, I really, really want what's best for my kids. I have a goal inside my heart to create champions for life. I want my kids to be confident, self-reliant. I want them to have self-control, self-discipline. I want them to practice responsibility. I want my kids to be able to focus. I want my kids to be able to have success at school, at home, in life, in relationships, in finances. If these are the goals that you have as parents underlying, then this is the group for you. And we're going to give you the parenting answers to go along with creating champions for life. So, with that all being said, some of the things that we say here at Creating Champions for Life will be 180 degrees different than anything you've ever learned about parenting anywhere else. There might be the odd thing that we say that makes you really think. There might be some things that we say that make you go, oh my gosh, that seems so truthful and so real. It seems so truthful and so real, but so against, my inner beliefs because we've been conditioned to believe certain things about parenting. So, hey, good morning, Jessica, Carlos, welcome. Thank you for being here. Angela, I love when you all show up live because, then you can actually ask questions. So if you have any questions, now is a great time to be putting it into the chat bar. So we have some questions to answer. And what about you, Tom? I've opened it up with quite the pre-frame. Do you have anything to add before we get started in this morning?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, Bonnie, for having a dream that every kid can be a somebody before the age of 12, and that every mom around the world at least knows the fifth element of parenting, right? This is the one that's about love. But what I'm hearing you talk about this morning is a lot of a parenting that we find. And let's just say, no matter what parenting style they've got you labeled into, it always seems to have some common roots of, I don't know what to do here. And then if you do interact, it seems to be more on the negative side of the equation. And very rarely, as Bonnie was talking about, is who's actually operating on the guiding or the positive side of the spectrum. And that's where we come into play. So what makes us different? Well, we are the ones that are running on 100% the way God intended for our kids to be raised and launch out of the nest. There's so many references of why this is either hidden from you or they don't want you to know about it. It's not a conspiracy. It's just part of the game. But once you see it, you're like, where have you been my whole life? This seems to be the number one response. Somebody has something happen in their life. They pray, they ask for help. And the next thing we know, one of our videos shows up right on their feed, whether it's in YouTube or wherever it is, and they are like, wow, I'm so glad I found you now. But then again, where were you 10 years ago with my first kid?
Absolutely. So we had a question come in the other day, and I'm just looking for it right now. Can you pass me your phone? So, parenting questions, anything goes. A 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, a teenager. Maybe you've been watching some of our videos and you've been looking at some of our content, and perhaps there's a question there. Live Q&A works best with questions, so we're going to wait for your questions to come in. In the meantime, I have a couple questions that came in earlier in the week. So let me go ahead and find it. And also, where are you from? What was it from last week's Q&A or the week before that you're taking ownership of? And is there anybody here watching that has implemented something that you've learned here with Creating Champions for Life and that you're seeing new parenting results? All good for the comments right now as we move forward here. So bear with me. We're looking for ideas to help motivate preteens to want to succeed in school when they hate it, besides seeing friends. Oh my gosh. Like,
Repeat that question one more time
yes.
and just a little slower so we can actually hear what the request or the goal or the vision truly is.
Sure. And then Carlos, we'll get to your question right away after this. Ideas to help motivate preteens.
Okay, let's pause right there. Motivate. These are all going to be key words. Motivate preteens.
If you have a pen and paper and you can write down motivate preteen, motivate 2-year-old, motivate
Right.
15-year-old, whatever situation you're dealing with, would you like your kids to have a little bit more internal motivation for going to school or internal motivation for doing their chores? What we're going to teach you here, what Tom's going to talk about, are formulas. So if I were you, I would grab a pen and a pad of paper and write down the gold nuggets he's about to share. It might seem really simple, but it's gold, gold, gold.
Okay. Kelly's got one in there.
Yeah,
too,
we'll get to Kelly. We'll get to Carlos.
Good. Continue, please. We've got motivate preteens
To want to succeed in school.
To want.
To want to succeed in school.
To want to succeed. Okay. What else?
Even though they hate it.
All right. They hate it. All right. You see, a lot of times the answers are sitting right in the question of what you're asking for. Because first and foremost, we're going to grab our, oh gosh, do you remember any of those board games? You had like a truth or dare, right? I dare you. Here's, do so, tell me the truth. But what we're going to do is we're going to play the Creating Champions for Life truth card. So we're going to give it to you straight on what the truth is. It's not an opinion. It's what we're having to deal with. So let's look at this here. We got preteens. We want them to be motivated and we want them to succeed. Does that sound like, and we're going to talk about goals, does that sound more like the parent's goal or the actual teen's goal? And that is a big difference between whether you're being a dictating briber or you're actually guiding that child to greatness. And that's going to be your first clue on this puzzle. Is it your goal or their goal? Dramatic pause. Because if you start to hear that it's actually, oh, my goal, I want them to do good. Okay. So on your best day, when you want it for them more than they do, you're going to find yourself in a authoritarian, dictating parenting, or you're going to be in a bribing, authoritative parenting. When you want it more than they, that's where the negative comes into play.
Right. So how do we motivate them to want to succeed?
It has to be their goal. Why would they want to actually be motivated to go do something? You catch them doing things all the time that you don't like, right?
Yep.
So they're motivated.
They're motivated to do something.
Right. So how do you? Well, what if it could be this simple, but it'll take some work? Make it their idea. Make it their goal. You see, you got to be bigger. Going to school and learning some things is not the goal here. It's the stepping stones to what that is bigger that will get them up in the morning with no alarm when it's Christmas morning or birthday, or you're going to Disneyland tomorrow. See,
Right.
they got to have a goal of, well, why do I got to go to school? Well, see, with vision, we can prosper. Without the vision, we're going to perish. There's no clear vision. I mean, yes, you can cattle prod them. Yes, they'll do it for you. But as soon as you're out of the equation, where does the motivation go? See, they're reacting to your push. So, how do we make it their idea? We talk about vision. Well, why are you here? And what do you see? Like when we were in kindergarten, we always asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a fireman, an astronaut, an engineer, something. See, that's the goal that will help them actually go to school or be motivated. It has to be their idea.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah. Okay. So from mom to mom, that is all the truth. So we're setting up a little foundation because what we want to do is we want to challenge some beliefs that you have. And isn't it a belief that you have that the kids should just do what they're supposed to do because you're the big kid and they're the little kid, and they should just do what they're supposed to do because you tell them to do it, and they should just listen? And if they don't listen and do everything that you want them to do and think the way you want them to think and dress the way you want them to dress and get up in the morning and leave when you want them to leave, and if they don't do exactly what you want them to do, well, then they're defiant or there's something wrong with them. Does this resonate with everybody? Is this a belief that you have, that you've been taught? So what Tom's talking about is completely 180 degrees off of what our inner beliefs are. And our inner beliefs are habitual, right? Because like everything that you believe, every way that you react, everything that you say, how you talk, how you respond, everything is a habit. Well, your kids have habits too. So let me approach it this way. What do you have to do, mom or dad, to be able to bring a video game machine into the house? What do you have to do in order to have a couch in your living room? What do you have to do in order to have a fridge full of food? What do you have to do in order to keep the electricity on, to pay for your Wi-Fi, your computers, your iPads, your cell phones? Looking for comments. I know it's a little rhetorical, but it's way more fun when you engage with us. Okay. What do you have to do to make all of these amazing privileges show up? I'm just going to keep asking questions till we get some comments coming back in. This is called Q&A. You ask questions, we answer questions. You pedal the bike, we steer the bike. We can't do anything unless you have a desire as a mom or as a dad to learn here. Right? Like we can't answer questions unless you're asking the questions, right? So Melissa says, work my ass off. Yes. Jessica says, earn money. Tiffany says, work. Angela says, get a job or a source of income. We got to go to work. Thank you, YouTube. We got to go to work. Pull through. Thank you, Instagram. We got to get up in the morning. Oh, it's Monday morning. I don't want to get up. Well, we got to get up so we go to work so we can eat, so we can feed our family. Is this not how the world works? I love this. God promises, I promise I'll feed the birds every day, but I'm not going to come down from heaven and shove worms in all the birds' throats. They got to get off their ass and go to work. Right, Melissa? Okay. So what would motivate a preteen to get up and go to school? Well, if you give them everything under the sun for free, the Wi-Fi, the TV, the couch, the snacks, and we think it's our job. We've been trained to think that it's our job to do everything, to provide everything, to be everything for our kids, which kills their internal motivation. So this is what we're talking about, how to motivate a preteen to go to school. Do you think your preteen might be motivated to go to school if going to school was attached to their video game?
Yes.
If going to school was attached to their favorite snack after dinner? If
Yes.
going to school was attached to whether they got to wear designer clothes or Value Village clothes? If going to school meant the difference between the cool snacks or the generic snacks? If going to school, see, when we make our kids responsible for their own outcomes in life, they're motivated to go to school. How much is this making sense for those of you watching? You can't motivate your kids. You can't, like, there's nothing you can say or do or be or have to make your kids feel a certain way. Does this make sense?
Yes. And let's add a +1 to
Yes.
this motivation. Motivate. How do you motivate? Well, what if it could be as simple as a coin where you got heads or tails? You're either going to be motivated from the inside out or it's going to be from the outside in. And if it's their goal to go towards something, that means they're motivated from the inside out. Like we talked about, if you know you're going to Disneyland tomorrow, you will never have to motivate them to get up in the morning because they're running on what we call as goal power. So inside out is what we're looking for. The bottom line is, what if it was stop motivating them from the outside in? This is bribery. And if we did that to a cop, it's against the law, but yet we can bribe our kids. Maybe that could be our first clue. Stop giving them something first, hoping that you got some strings attached. You see, I'm not saying you're there yet, but if you could go back in time and give them 3 rights, kind of like why we have child protective services. So we have food, clothes, and shelter. When you deny kids these, that's when they get involved. Everything after that is a privilege. So when we have them to be motivated, give them the basics. Got you some shelter to sleep, protect you from the animals. Here's 3 square meals, nothing special. And here's some clothes to wear. Everything else, we start to validate. And thank you, Carlos, for putting in vase in there. Validate. Love for you to have that. That's amazing. I remember being your age and wanting something just like that. Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Do you know what we call that desire? That want, need, or desire that you're talking about? No. Well, we call it a goal. We got to be able to show them the game. It's called a goal. How do we know when we're running on goal power? Because it's a genius offspring that's always learning. They're learning new things. They're going for something. Oh, call that a goal. Great. You see, what's missing here is we somehow play secret agent. We don't tell them the truth that you had to either make that goal all by yourself, or you had to trade time for money, or better yet, you needed to actually have somebody else make it and you bought it from them. You see, at the end of the day, the child really is not looking for you to do it for them. They're saying, hey, when do I get a turn? When are you going to let me know the secret formula of how you make it show up so I can be like you? So if you can validate their goal and not give it to them, that might be the biggest victory ever. But mommy, I really want it. Yes, that's what it's going to take for it to show up. Got to have some desire from the inside. Like, talk to me. How much do you really want? Just, it's the most important thing in the world. Okay. What time do I go to work in the morning? I see you leave at 6 a.m. That's right. So that means we got to start practicing what we do.
Yes.
To make things show up. Tell the truth. Don't sugarcoat it. When you can practice getting up in the morning and playing some life cycles of maybe what would be the, where does the laundry go? I put it here. Maybe you could start putting yours there. You see, the life skills that they should be practicing is their job. And that actually produces some money or time. to be able to earn the privilege to use something like that. It's a
That's
total
awesome.
game changer when you can flip it, but it makes as much sense as put your, what is it, the battery in the remote and go, well, it's not working. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
designed that way.
Yeah, let's put the battery in the right way, and you'll see these kids get up in the morning, get themselves ready, get themselves breakfast, get themselves dressed, get themselves to the door, get themselves to school. Do you know that in the old days, you ever hear this? In the old days, when I was a kid, I used to walk 5 miles up and down the hill in the snow to get to school.
Uphill both ways.
That's the truth. They used to walk through the snowstorms to get to school all by themselves. And now, like, we drive them to the door. We wait till we can bubble wrap our kids or we can prepare them for life. What makes more sense to you, mom, dad, watching this? What makes more sense to you? Should we bubble wrap and protect our kids from everything to exist? Or should we prepare them for life? And I'm just going to keep holding this up. I'm actually going to get a truth card. I'm going to get a CCFL truth card created that I could just hold up and go tell your kids the truth. Get your kids to earn their own money. How do they earn money? By going to school. Oh, now they're motivated to go to school. It is so cool. Okay. So Carlos says, we overcompensate on so many levels. How to identify when we do that? Oh, Carlos, thank you so much for asking this question. Now, if you're just watching us on YouTube, you have no idea who we are. Like I said in the beginning, we create champions for life. Every other parenting course out there will try to convince you that you can get your kids to cooperate by using some gimmick. Okay. So I was thinking about the other day, I'm like, we don't create cooperative kids, we create champions for life. So when we're talking about overcompensating, gosh, this could be if you've got a 12-month-old baby that's trying to climb up on the couch and it starts to whine and struggle and cry, and you come over, and can you picture this image? The baby's crying, he's trying to get on the couch, and you come over and you go, "Oh, here you go." And you help him up on the couch. I want you to answer this. Is that overcompensating? The baby, big kid comes over and goes, oh, boop, boop. Share with me in the comments. Is that overcompensating? Thank you, Tiffany. Prepare. Kimberly, prepare. Yes. So Angela says, yes, it is. Carlos says, yes, it is absolutely overcompensating. Okay. When a kid goes, Mommy, what time is it? And you go, you answer, what time is it?
Oh, I mean, just answer it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8:20, 8:29.
Is that overcompensating? Mom, what time is it? Oh, let me stop everything I'm doing right now to find the time for you. Even though there's a clock there, 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 a clock there.
Now it's cute at first because you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so needed, and you feed on that. Like you want to be needed. Like okay, I can be a little dispensing machine because it creates a void for me. But I'm not saying play the smart ass card. But sometimes you got to just make a transition. Be like, ask me again.
What time is it?
Time for you to buy a watch.
That's not what you would say.
Because at the end of the day, you want them to be able to tell time without you. Please type in yes with a big resounding, oh my gosh. Our job is to put ourselves out of a job like every single animal in the animal kingdom does. Yes, you got to do for them at first. That's the monkey see, monkey do. You do with them. It's called follow the leader. But then they got to be able to do it all by themselves. That's the basic Simon Says game. You got to be doing a transition. So if you're helping them up on the couch, well, you wanted it more than they did. You robbed their desire.
Yeah. You postpone the inevitable. You like cut the cocoon open. You know,
if a
butterfly, so a caterpillar just kind of crawls around, it eats, it poops, it sleeps, it eats, and it just continues. That's all the caterpillar knows. Walk around this branch, eat a leaf, take a nap. Well, the caterpillar needs to metamorphosize into a butterfly. The butterfly that can fly and be free and healthy and be independent. And if you see a butterfly in a cocoon and it's struggling to get out, and you can see this little struggle going on inside the cocoon, and you come over and you take some scissors and you go, "Oh, let me help you," and you cut the cocoon open. Well, I want you to imagine this butterfly, all wet wings, flopping out on the ground, wet wings. That caterpillar, like, even though it seems like the nice thing to do, like Carlos, you said, it seems kind of harsh way of thinking, but it's not really. It's what is our intention? See, to me, a harsh way of thinking is I want this little being to be completely dependent on me. I want this little being to do everything that I tell it to do and not have a mind of its own. Or like, I want this little being to grow up completely needing me for the rest of its life. To me, that seems off the mark. That seems a little harsh.
Yes.
When you have the intention, I want this little being to love itself. I want this little being to know its greatness. I want this little being to have the confidence that it needs, that it knows that it can struggle and build the fluid in the wings so that it can bust itself out of the cocoon so it will have the strength to fly. Overcompensating means doing anything that your child can be doing without you. We've got a 15-month-old granddaughter, and last month she crawled up on our little step ladder. It's got 2 steps, and then she can stand on the top. Well, I mean, we're in the kitchen one day, and I'm doing stuff, and I turn around. Here she is standing on the top of the step ladder. This could be like, oh my gosh, get off, you're gonna hurt yourself. But I've learned to just take a step back and be there for safety or whatever, but to let her be. And so mom comes over about a week later, and Harley goes to crawl up this step ladder, and mom goes to grab her off the step ladder. And I'm like, no, 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 watch what she can do. She climbs up the one step, climbs up the second step, and stands there. Now, this little girl, this little human being in a little physical body with no life skills wants to do what? Wants to show off.
I see you stand on
Look
it.
at me. Look what I can do. And now mom comes over and helps out or takes her off the ladder. What is the repercussions of this? It might seem like a really simple situation, but do you think that the repercussions will go into the mind, into the soul, into the body, into the memory cells and affect that little one forever? Guys, everything you do matters. When you plate your kids' food, are they 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, and you're still plating their dinner plate? No, they want to play. Give them as many opportunities to do things without you as you possibly can, and as minimum input from you. If this is all making sense, give us a heart on the video or something. I want to know that we're touching you to some degree. Does that make sense, Carlos? Did we answer your question? Okay, so I'm going back up here. Okay, there's lots of comments now. Just give me a second.
All right. Now, while she's looking for that, let's go back to the motivate. There's going to be 2 ways of motivation. And when you take down the notes, you're going to go, oh my gosh, it's heads or tails. Yes. We've been taught to motivate from the outside in. That's bribery. Outside in. Or you can be motivated from the inside out. You see, when it comes from your goal, that's coming from the inside out. If it's somebody else's goal, then it's from the outside in. That's the difference. You see, a lot of times when we think about, well, getting high, ooh, that strikes a chord with some people. But you see, you're supposed to get high from either the outside in, which would be like drugs and alcohol, is a substance that's outside in. You get high now, and then you have what is called a hangover later. That's the cost of getting high first. Then there's the effect. But if you were to get high from the inside out, you see, this would be like what is called snow globe, where you take it and you shake it. This is your body. So you actually work out. You move your body first, and then you get that high from the inside out. And so many times people are like, yeah, but it's hard. It's, and like, yes, it is hard. That's called the hangover. You see, doing the exercise now is the hangover, and then you get to enjoy the whole high later. And when it's done, you completed the cycle. So, really, it's all about switching the battery. You either want to get high first, pay later, or you pay first, then you do what it is. And so, when the kids are given everything first, and they don't pay it later, you do, doesn't take long to get resentful. But when they start to go, oh, you had to do this, this, and this before you made the TV and the video game show up. Well, why are we keeping the A, B, and the C a secret?
Yeah.
Tell them the truth. This is what it takes for it to show up.
Yep. I think we got that one.
And back to you, Bonnie.
Okay. We should know how to motivate our kids. And, we're going to have some challenges and some contests in the group, in our Facebook group. So if you're watching us out there on the internet and you want to come play with us and be with us more, come join our community. Go learntospeakkid.com, join our community and come find our Facebook group. But hopefully that makes sense, Carlos. Kelly Koob said something about guiding versus punishing. So we should never spank. We're not here. First of all, I want to pre-frame. Tom and I are not therapists or psychologists. We do not diagnose children. We do not talk about medication. We do not talk about opinions. So I'm not going to share my personal opinion when it comes to spanking, but I will share this. Positive parenting. I mean, it's been a word tossed around there for the last 85, 90 years, since about 1946. Before 1946, that's how we got kids to comply. We just beat them with a switch behind the barn. That was the discipline method back then. And then it kind of transformed in 1946 to let's redirect their attention. Let's bubble wrap them. Let's baby proof the house so we never have to say no. By the time the child's 2, they should know what no means. But we are never taught along the way, ever, not once, to guide a child with their internal goals. So let's say this. We can earn to go to Yale. Yep. By going to school, doing our work, being a good citizen. You can earn the privilege to go to Yale or Harvard or a university. You can also earn to go to jail, because you can't just be like, oh, I'm sick and tired of being at my parents' house. I'm going to go knock on the jail door and go, can I come be in jail and get 3 free meals a day?
Now, remember, jail is not a right. Jail is a privilege that you must go out of your way to earn.
Correct.
I want that to sink in for a moment. Wait a minute. What? Jail and Yale are both privileges. They're goals. And there's a very specific plan, like cooking, a recipe, in order to make those show up.
Right.
Where's the confusion? When you go to jail, woohoo, great job. Who made that happen? I did. They go to jail. Woohoo! Great job. Who made that show up? I did. You see, when you can start to see that you are a creator made by the creator to create, it's a complete game changer. The whole purpose of the kids, yes, they start off dependent. But if we're working towards independence, that's why people lock arms with Creating Champions for Life, is to make that transformation. Everything else is just postponing the inevitable.
So, I mean, with that being said, do some people earn an ass whooping? What do you think? Like, if we can earn Yale and we can earn jail, you can earn anything that your little heart desires, little Timmy. You can earn, dessert, brown sugar on your oatmeal. You can earn designer clothes. You can earn whatever shoes you want. Oh, I want that. I would love for you to have that. That's called a goal. Let's create a plan to achieve it. My 20-year-old yesterday, he's like, you know what, Mom, life is good. Life is great. What did he say? He said something like, because of you, I know that no matter what I want to have in life, I can just set that as a goal and create a plan to achieve it.
If it is to be, it's up to me. I am
So
love.
is the spanking, oh, you little spiritual harmony integrating, totally get over here and whack. Is it a reaction? Is it a punishment? Do you drag a kid over from doing something you don't like and smack them? No, I mean, like, no, I mean, there's a million things you can do before you end up there. But if you had a master plan and we start at 0, you can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can they earn a spanking? You tell me. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to take that conversation. Carlos said,
formula.
Think formula. Yes, formula, principles, same every time, never changing. Gravity works all the time. It doesn't work sometimes. So what we will teach you to do, for those watching who don't know, is we'll show you how to create a master customized family plan that works for you. You don't have to believe everything we believe. We're going to teach you the principles that it takes to raise champion kids. We're going to show you how to make a master family plan. We're going to show you how to share the plan, the good, the bad, the ugly with your kids, just like God does. So many people are like, how could God let this horrible thing happen? No, we're human beings. We have the right and the privilege. We have the right and the privilege to control what we think about.
True.
We have the right to give energy to the weeds in our lives, complain about everything. We have the energy, we have the ability to give energy to the roses in our life and talk about how grateful we are that we're able to wake up this morning. We're able to move. I've got eyes, ears, hands, feet. I've got kids that are still alive. My whole family is healthy. I can still inspire my kids to greatness. Do you still have a chance? Is there one more day to inspire your kids to greatness? Carlos, you said something about we need to do something that they don't like. I just had it, Tom. You moved it. Carlos said something about, oh man.
Yeah, even if you found something they don't like.
It sounds harsh, but attach something that they don't like or something that would cause them pain. And so I want to bring a magnifying glass to this statement. Haven't we been taught our whole lives, conditioned, that when it comes to parenting, they do something we don't like, we got to do something they don't like? Carlos, we never have to do anything they don't like. We never have to create a situation that's harsh for them. This is called manipulation. When a parent has to do something consciously, I need to do something negative so my child can learn a lesson. No, when we start at 0 and we add, it's super empowering. So I want to start the conversation in the world about healthy kids, happy kids, cooperative kids, grateful kids. I want to start the conversation of what can we do to empower the kids. Guys, we want to empower our kids to their greatness. That's it. We want to create an environment that allows them a little bit of opportunity to struggle, because struggle is what gives them the strength to step into their power and step into their greatness. Now, if Charlie wants to create negative in his life, we want to empower him to go, you can create negative in your life and you can create positive in your life. I love you either way. I love you just the same. You want to steal cars for a living, or you want to go to university? You want to end up in jail, or you want to end up in a mansion? I love you just the same. We need to erase the whiteboard of all of the parenting, this whole gentle parenting thing. We need to be, our child's frontal cortex isn't developed till the age of 5. That means that they cannot control their emotions. We need to be their emotional intelligence for the first 5 years. Oh my God. That is such a huge lie.
You know, false or true? Harley Faith goes halfway to her crib, her room, turns around and looks right at you and goes, Grandma, as to summon you to help her get into the crib. Because if she could get in the crib, she would have. False or true?
Yeah. So our 15, well, she's 16 months old now, but like for the last month, it'll be around bedtime and we'll be like, where's the baby? And she's like on the stairs looking at me going, let's go. And we just take her upstairs and she goes to bed. She falls over and she hurts herself. And within 10 seconds, she's like, regulated. Okay, here's what's missing. And if you've been studying gentle parenting and you're out there and you're like, I love gentle parenting. So we're all for validation. And yes, we want to validate kids' emotions. Yes, they have a right to feel emotions. What we're missing is that the goal that they had before the meltdown wasn't validated. So we want to validate our kids, who they are, what they think, things they say, things they do. Oh, look at you want to climb the ladder. Let me show you how to do it safely. Oh, look at you want to cook you want to be around the hot burners. Let me show you how to do it safely. Oh, look at you want to play with the electrical outlet. Let me show you what this is all about so you can be safe. Don't bubble wrap your kids from everything and postpone the inevitable. So the minute you turn your head, they're putting a fork in the electrical outlet, because that kind of stuff happens, right? So we want to validate our kids, and Carlos and everybody else watching. Carlos, thank you so much for putting that comment. We do not need to set up a situation that they don't like. Life is life. And anything that we want to have in our life, we must earn. And that's the empowering environment that we're setting up for our kids. And yes, Mom, can you cut my pancakes? And Mom coming over and cutting the pancakes. Yes, that is overcompensating. When he's 9 years old, he should be taught to cut his own pancakes. He wants to be taught to cut his own pancakes. He wants opportunities to show off his greatness because he's a little human being who wants to be like you and do what you do.
Ask me what time it is again, Bonnie.
What time is it?
Ooh, I know this puzzle. Hang on a second. All right, I solved the puzzle. Did you already solve it?
No.
Oh, did you want to solve it?
Yes.
Can you see where I'm looking?
Yes.
What do you see?
Oh, you mean right over there where there's a clock on the wall? And it's digital too.
Oh my gosh, you're so smart. That's right. Can you decipher the lines and the hieroglyphics over there?
Uh-huh.
What numbers do you see?
333.
Oh my gosh. Look who's smart. And
exactly.
Guess who just solved their own puzzle?
Well, Carlos says, Timmy, where would I go? Where would I go to tell time? The clock. Look how smart you are.
Wow.
So just by that little 5 second think it's nothing scenario. Mom, what time is it? 3:33. Mom, what time is it? Hey, where would I go to find the time? You'd go look at the clock. Can you show me what that looks like? Okay. So what time is it, little Timmy? 3:33. Look how smart you are. Now you set up an environment, you set up a scenario where you get to praise the little guy. And how does he feel about himself? Right? Okay, that's awesome. It's not about being nice or not. It's about doing what's best for your child so they can survive without you. Yes, Angela.
Right. We're not talking about, hey, Siri. Right? That's an overcompensating tool. You can get dependent on it. So if you're stuck somewhere where you can't go, hey, Siri, who's dead in the water? You see, the idea is that are we making things easier, or are we actually making them so they can step up to do what's required to move forward? You see, the reason why that butterfly has to wiggle so much is it's the capillaries must be filled with the fluid. You see, when the butterfly can demonstrate the energy and power inside the cocoon that is required outside of the cocoon, well, that's when Mother Nature rewards you. You are now ready to move forward. You see, I will do for you so you can start to play the game of monkey see, monkey do. Do you see where I was looking? Right? It starts to mimic. And the idea is you ask yourself this is in principle number 1 of knowing your role as a parent. If I cease to exist now, how well would my little genius offspring be able to do? And see, when you answer that question, it lets you know that your role is to prepare, not postpone the inevitable. And it lets you know if you're ahead of the curve, behind the 8 ball, or right on track. because you got one prime directive, and every animal gives you the hint: mimic what the animals do, and every disorder automatically heals, unites, and becomes empowerment, period.
Absolutely. Okay, thoughts, comments, observations, and questions from you guys. Do you have any more questions? And I had something come from Nicole earlier. So, what did she say here? Just a minute. We were talking about this whole self-regulation thing. And a lot of people, especially if we've been raised, everybody here has been raised in kind of a really confusing parenting time. Because I remember my mom running around the house in the late 1970s going, Dr. Spock says I can't spank you, but how do I get you to listen to me? And she was like so freaked out and obviously not practicing self-regulation. And so a lot of us have not had self-control training. And I think that's why a lot of parents will send their kids off to like martial arts or something, because they think that they can get some self-control training and they can get some self-discipline and all these great things. But the truth is, your kids are counting on you to show them how the world works. We can send them to school for an hour and they can practice some self-control and they can come back home. But if we're back home not self-regulated ourselves as parents, then we can kind of cause some kerfuffle and some confusion. So Nicole said, "Can for the next Q&A, can you expand on self-regulation?" Back in the day, I think most parents don't consciously know how to self-regulate. So when we tell them to say things like, "I'll give you attention when you are calm," we aren't showing the kids how to get there. I think this is a big one because most of the diagnoses come with an inability to regulate. Can everybody relate with what Nicole is saying here? So we're talking about self-regulation for ourselves. Like we want our kids to be, that is so true. We want our kids to be these little
Don't do as I do, but do
perfect
as
little
I say.
beings, perfect little dolls with perfect little emotions, to be 100% compliant, go to school, sit in a classroom for 8 hours without any training. They just sit there and be good little boys and girls. And if they do something we don't like, well, we're supposed to correct in the moment. And then we wonder where all of the anxiety is coming from for our children. Okay.
So you got that truth card yet?
Truth card.
Let me see that
We're
truth
going to play
card.
the truth card.
Let me just add this to it, right? First and foremost, truth. Blank. In control of my body and my actions. You see, we can't deny that something's happening. Something is happening. That means you're awake and engaged. But when you start to understand that there's three to everything, something is in control of my body, my actions. Well, it comes down to this. What if I am in control of my body, my actions, or they are in control of my body, my actions? So when the kid looks at you and is always like, you're always telling me what to do, they're going, they are in control of my body, my actions, and I'm supposed to be. So how do you self-regulate? Stop being in control of them and allow them to be in control. See, when they fall down and cry, did you demonstrate to them you falling down and crying? And show them how I'm in control. When I fall down, I hit. Yes, I cry for a minute. I breathe. I re-regulate. And then I move on. You see, the more that you can demonstrate with monkey see, monkey do to your kid, the more you're going to win, because nobody was ever talked into walking. You must demonstrate for them to mimic. How do you deal with it? So they can see. That's how they learn.
Yeah. I think we can get so lost in a world that is so fast paced and so busy, right? You got to get up in the morning and get rest and get the kids and get them to school and go to work and pick the kids up and make dinner. And it's just like life is so, it's like this easy life that we've set up for ourselves. Like I'm thinking like 100 and some odd years ago where you'd come home to the barn or like come home to the little cabin and everybody slept in one room and you made dinner together and your whole life was about taking care of your ranch and growing your own food. So now we've created this environment where it's like you can just go to the grocery store and buy food, but you got to work 80 hours a week in order to be able to go to the grocery store to buy food. I don't know. What I'm saying is we're lost in this rat race of how the world works, and we can get to be like a ping pong ball where you get up in the morning and all day we're just reacting. Oh, the kids are driving me nuts and blah blah blah. There's no proactiveness, there's no thinking, there's no planning, there's no vision. Bible says without vision people perish. Well, the parents, you guys have no vision. You need a vision. You need to know exactly what to do when the kids do this, exactly what to do when this happens, exactly what to do when that happens. Now, when we're planning a wedding or a party, or when we're planning anything, a vacation, we take the time to think. We explore the map. We choose where we want to go. We choose the date months in advance. We know what we want to bring with us, what to pack, everything that could go wrong. Maybe we buy travel insurance. But when we wake up in the morning with our kids and the whole day is left to chance for them and for you, well, we're really setting our lives up to be a ping pong ball, to be a reactive unit living in this planet with no thought patterns. So when we're talking about self-regulation, how important do you think it is, mom, dad? How important do you think it is to practice self-control for yourself? How important do you think it is to sit back and take a few minutes once a day to think about your life? I wrote things down like breathing, YouTube, how to practice self-control, YouTube, breathing techniques. And I really think that when we get the thinking right in our minds about what it means to be a parent, a lot of the anger and the anxiety and the unknowingness will go away. And that's why people join our programs, our mentorship programs, and really, really dig into creating champions for life, because we don't just teach you how to have cooperative kids. We will become your trusted advisors, and we will lock arms with you, and we will practice self-control with you, and we will help you become the parent that you've always wanted to be, a leader, a self-regulated, with self-control, with happiness and joy. So you can always be a great example for your kids, not be like, you need to listen to me and be calm and don't you dare disrespect me. And we're yelling at our kids to be calm and quiet and not yell at us. Do you see what I'm saying? Am I going somewhere here?
Yep.
Breathe, meditate, think. What do you want in this life? What do you want from your kids? What life skills are they missing? And how do we make that happen? And let's start this conversation, because thoughts become things. And if you have a goal to have harmony in your home and peace in your home and more self-control and more leadership skills, if you set that as a goal, we'll help you create the plan. And then you just work the plan until you have everything that you want in this world. So,
are we almost out of time, or do we have a window?
We're never going to run out of time. We're
over?
here as long as you have questions. Melinda has a question.
Good.
She says, I have twin boys. They're 5. Their dad and I are going through divorce. They use their father to get what they want. Yep. They will take the path of least resistance.
Pause right there. Melissa, we call this the reframe. They go to their dad to get whatever they want. Are you happy or sad right there? You see, if you answer that question, you'll always lose. But if you could actually just go, man, my twin boys are so smart. They know exactly who to go to for welfare training called Have a Good Story. Somebody won't let you, and somebody will do it for me, and I'll never be independent. You see, they're going through the same behavior as water. They're taking what is called the least point of resistance. Principle 3 in our program talks about creating the right environment. You see, being the truth is, one, you could actually earn that all by yourself. Mom, that's your role. I'm going to be the one to help you learn to do it all by yourself. That way, when you launch out of the nest, you're going to be able to thrive, duplicate, and have anything you want all on your own. If you want to go to dad, then dad is going to do it for you, and you'll never get out of the cocoon and you'll never fly. Speak the truth. It's not an opinion. It's not a battle between mom and dad. Speak the truth and it will set you free. Therefore, your twin boys can now exercise free will. You give them the three options. There's always a good option, a bad option, and there's an ugly one. There's always three to everything. Now, the question would be, and I don't know their names, so I'm going to say, hey, little twin boys, how would you like to make your goals show up today? Did you want to go ahead and whine, bitch, and complain and go to the welfare department, AKA, well, dad's running, he's role playing that this week? Or would you like to be able to one day do it all by yourself with nobody else, and you can do it exactly the way you want to? If that's your choice, come to me. Truth.
I also got to speak another truth, mom. And this is to all the moms. And like, I don't know, maybe dads, maybe you're attached to, but for moms, we really become emotionally attached to our kids. And what they do, and especially when it comes to the ex. Like, we've got the dad in place, and I've experienced this experience. So I'm not talking to you from theory or what I think. I'm talking to you from mom to mom experience, making the transition to creating champions for life. 100% let it go. He's their dad. They can go to their dad. Like I never convinced Paul to join Creating Champions for Life. I've got 4 kids with him. Met Tom. They were ages 6 to 12. And every time he would take them, he would spoil them, bring them back home. And here's the thing. I made a decision that I was cutting them off the welfare system, that I was going to do everything in my power to breathe life into my kids. That once I realized that I was setting them up for failure by giving them everything for free and never letting them think or plan or do or be, and there was no proactive attention. Once I realized that, I just said, you know what? You guys might not like me. And that's okay. I love you enough. You don't owe me anything, but I owe you life skills, and I owe you the truth, and I owe you the way the world really works. And so once we make the shift and we start issuing proactive attention, come on, guys, let me show you how this works. Ooh, we've got goals, we've got vision boards. Let me be your trusted advisor. What'll happen when you let go, when you stop forcing them, like, and you just let go, you know what? We start at 0 at my house. You do whatever you want at your dad's. Well, maybe, use your imagination to create the right environment here. What I'm saying is, I'm going to go ask dad. Okay. Like, don't be emotionally attached to your kids and refuse to allow them to mentally blackmail you. And I think we call it emotional blackmail when the kids start doing that. So it's okay. I don't know if you can nip it in the bud, except for you decide to be a leader in your home.
Now, you don't want to let them do it, things of that nature. I'd love for you to have those things. We call those good memory. We call those goals. Once again, show them how they could go get those goals. Dad is the don't do anything handout, right? And this is called welfare. You don't have to work. Just get a check, sit on the side of the road, get a little crayon on the cardboard. Like, show them what the truth truly is. But at the end of the day, dad's not going to be around forever. Find me an animal that still stays in the nest and never prepares. And so when we can get back to the prime directive, no matter what you're doing, as long as you set your GPS coordinates to my job is to help you do it all by yourself without me, then every day you can reroute and recalculate your thinkings and your feelings to go on the prime directive. Yes, we've got them for a while, but when you're working on making a list of life skills that I do for you, and the game is I do none, you do all, Then the transition can be I do 12, you do none, and eventually you do one, I do 11. Click, 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 click. That's the position between the physical umbilical cord and the spiritual one. The job is very crystal clear, and you don't have to worry about being the best because GPS doesn't call you a moron or an idiot for missing a turn, does it? Hey, dummy. Hey, you complete worthless piece of that's the marriage version of GPS. What it's going to tell you is you're going to go, guess what? You're going to be just like an airplane on autopilot. You're going to be off course 98% of the time. But you're constantly acting, analyzing, and adjusting, and we're rerouting and recalculating. And when you understand that, then you're now human working with passion and direction. Because how long did it take for you to walk, ride a bike, and drive a car? We all celebrated the first steps, and that's what we need to do here too.
Absolutely. And Dave, yeah, like I see you talking to Melissa, and it would just be awesome if we could just talk to our exes and say, "Hey, we're doing this now and let's get on." And they went, "Oh, yes, I'm going to work with you." It doesn't always work that way. It didn't work that way for me for sure. And that's why I'm saying, Melissa, like you learn all you can. You make a decision to be a leader for your kids. You start giving them proactive attention. And at the end of the day, so my kids are now 20 to 26. At the end of the day, you'll be their superhero. They will know where to go for a trusted advisor. They'll know to look to you. And in the beginning, I mean, module 4, principle 4 of Crane Champions for Life is making it through the transition. You're going to be ridiculed. Your kids who have an easy life, once you start going, oh, you know what? It's my job to empower you to learn these life skills, not do everything for you. Oh my gosh. They're going to like have times where they're like, I want to go back to the welfare system. Life was easier for me then. I could just lounge around all day and play video games and you did everything for me. Please, mom. And plus, they don't even know that they can make anything happen on their own without you. So there's that. Okay. I'm just saying, stick to your guns and, don't worry about what he does. Honestly, stick to your guns, make your plan and just be a great mom. And that's all we can do at the end of the day. Yes, stay the course. I need the breathing self-control. Dave, we all do. Tom and I go for a walk every morning and we set a timer for 5 minutes to just breathe and not do anything. Don't scratch, don't look, don't do anything. Don't check your phone for 5 minutes.
Dave, if we could play with Dave for just a moment here. I need the breathing control. So give yourself permission. What if self-control was nothing more than a game? Because when the kids would come, we always played self-control games and we would let the truth be known. You see, you have 5 senses: see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. You see, these are our inputs, how we interact with the 3D world. And you can't turn these things off. Yes, you can take medication to numb them. You get the point. But the question is we can't stop it. What we want to do is we want to be able to breathe and hold our body still like a statue, knowing that these 5 senses are acting every second, minute, and hour of the day. The question would be is validate. Yes, I can see that. I can hear that. Thank you for delivering that message and doing an amazing job. Nose, eyes, ears. However, I validate you. Doesn't mean I need to react to you. If it's an emergency, that's called a given. But thank you for demonstrating that and delivering that message. You see, right now I'm practicing. I am in control of my body, my actions versus these 5 senses. They are in control of my body, my actions. That's reactive mode. See, I'm in control for 5 minutes, which means I'm going to keep my body absolutely still regardless of these 5 senses. And so when I can validate them and say, thank you for delivering. Oh, and by the way, you're right after seeing, hearing, you're next in queue. There's 3 minutes and 20 more seconds left, and then you have my attention. It's called disorder reactive mode, or we dis the dis and put things in a sequential order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in control
I'm in control.
versus my five senses. They are in control. This is the whole difference of reacting all day long or living on purpose with the prime directive is to prepare them versus postpone. And when it gets this crystal clear, that's why everybody goes, where have you been my whole life? Why doesn't everybody do this? Well, that's a good question, because what if you were trained not to do this?
I love that.
Truth.
Playing detective. Dave, you're playing detective. You are in the meat of it. It's so funny. It's like, I want to get to the meat. Give me the good stuff. No, you're doing the good stuff right now.
I love this. This is Dave saying this. Now listen, this is so good. Thanks for playing. Patience. Yeah. Patience. How long is that going to take? Sometimes we have to breathe and listen in to what we're really asking. Baby takes 9 months. A pumpkin takes from seed to carve 3 months. You see, when man has been manipulating this natural law, it bites you in the ass every single time, false or true.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when you let go and get in the flow, then everything's working as it should. Truth.
So I'm actually gonna pull up. If you're like watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, I want the meat too. I'm gonna
Show 'em.
I'm gonna invite you to schedule a call. And you know, this is a call to see, what do you want? Where are you? Where are you in your parenting? Where do you want to be in your parenting? What do you want more of as a parent? How can we make that happen? It's a call to discover where you are, where you want to go, and to begin to make a plan to help you achieve your goal. I want to close with this. Write these questions down. It's time for the truth. We're gonna make a really pretty one and go to Staples and have a truth card.
Look at you and your creativity.
The truth is, guys, we all love our kids. If loving our kids was enough, we would have been done at conception. We'd have been like,
true.
I love my baby. Now my job's done. Okay. We all desire harmony. We all want to enjoy our time with our children and our grandchildren. It's not happening. It's not happening in most families around the world. When you've got a 3.5-year waiting list to have a 5-year-old assessed for some sort of behavior disorder, there's a problem going on. When over $20 billion is being spent to medicate kids who are not listening, there's a problem happening. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Something is really off the mark when it comes to, oh God, these are our children. This is the most, it's not the hardest job on the planet. It's the most important job on the planet, because the children are our next leaders. These are the human beings who are going to be running our world. So we need to sit back and we need to ask ourselves some questions. Number one, what is it that you really want as a parent? What do you want? What is it that you want to see? Like that for your kid, what do you want to see? Yeah, you know what? This is the stories I hear all the time. My kid's cutting class and he's yelling at me and he's beating up his mom and he's doing this and they just won't listen. And it's all about the kids. We're blaming the kids. But like, who decided to have kids?
Right. Who's older?
Right? Who creates the environment that your children are learning and growing in? So when we're talking about the effect being the breakdown of child mental health, who is the cause? What is the cause? Now, if you go to your therapist or your pediatrician, you go, what's the cause of my kid's ODD? They're going to say, I don't know. Because your doctors and your therapists and your pediatricians, they're studying how to fix the symptoms. But we know the cause. We know the cause is control. It's us. It's the parenting methods that we've been taught. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Do you want something different? if you want something different than what you have right now, I am going to invite you to take some action. I'm going to invite you to click the link I just shared in the comments and book a time to speak with me. Let's have a 15-minute window. Where are you at? Where you want to go, and how can we help you get there? And with that being said, I want to thank you for engaging. Johnny, I think I'm talking to you on Tuesday. Nice to see you here. Dave, Eve, Melissa, Julie, nice to see your face. Angela, thank you for being here. Kelly, Melissa, thank you for asking your question. Carlos, thank you so much for engaging. We love you guys. Chad.
Tiffany.
Oh, Tiffany. Yes. Tiffany Rooney. Thank you for being here, for commenting, for asking your questions. We love you guys. We want the best for your families and for your kids. We have a dream that every child know their greatness by the age of 12. Who can you invite to join our group? Do you have 2 or 3 friends that you can invite into this group, into the Raising Healthy, Happy, oh no, into the Harmonious Parenting group? Go to the invite tab at the top and just invite some friends in here. We need to get the word out that there's a better way. There's another way to raise children, a way where you can live in harmony and peace, a way where they love themselves. And it's right here at Creating Champions for Life. So,
and the last truth, when you do invite, everybody else out there either doesn't know about Creating Champions for Life, or the resistance is that they don't want to change. And when they squeak enough, somebody's giving them the grease. So invite whomever that is complaining, because at the end of the day, nobody signs up for a course called "What Can I Do to Really Screw Up My Kid's Future?" But we find ourselves in that game. And the only 2 things that stop anybody and everybody is innocence and fear. I don't know how, or I don't want to. Don't worry about sorting. Share it with anybody and everybody and let them decide for themselves. So thank you so much for that.
All right. We'll see you next Thursday, 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for Q&A, parenting Q&A, anything goes.
That's right.
Truthful, solution-oriented answers.
And of course, until we do meet again, here's
to your parenting success. Have a great week, everybody. Bye for now.